Alright. Alright guys, it's Pip Hop. I'm a little under the weather today, but I want to do a run through on some of these indicators that I use and how I use them, how important they can be, as well as some of these tools. One of the big ones that I really like to use for forecasting is this volume range profile, fixed range volume profile. And the way that I like to use this, you can see we have one up on this entire area. And you can see what this white line right here that's coming out of it. This is that volume area low. There is a red line here through the middle. This is your point of control. And then right here at the top, you have this other white line. This is your volume area high. And that's going to be the volume range where there's going to be the most volume, right, for this entire area. Now you can additionally use this same tool for smaller areas. So I like to get an idea of the bigger area. We could do smaller areas. So let's say we snag this high right here and then come just all the way over to the right. And you can see that we kind of line up again with that previous white line. And then we have this area here where this is our point of control, our volume area low. Now, to get a really bigger idea of what the volume looks like, we'd have to go to NQ1. So we'll go to NQ1. Okay, so this is going to allow us to have more data, right? So we can see that there's on the bigger spectrum of things where we take this low down here and going all the way up to the most recent point, we can see where these volume areas are. So I'm going to go ahead and hide this Fibonacci here so it's not confused. But you can see we have the point of control still up here in that same section. Volume area high is still kind of in that same section. But our volume area low now, based off of this entire chart, is down here. So what this tells me is that we have, you can see that the volume here is actually greater than the volume here. And this volume pressure here is starting to push down, wanting to push down. You can see we have 2 points of rejection right off of this volume area high. We also use these trend lines here that you've seen me set up in previous videos, to where we had a rejection off of that trend line. We had an attempt to come back up and retest that zone and failed just below that peak. And this giant volume area here that's kind of absorbing all of this buy pressure is now turning into sell pressure. And we can check that if we go into the liquidity spectrum visualizer. Now this is pre-market. Okay, market opens up in about 12 minutes. So if I grab this section here, and this is on the 4-hour time chart, if I grab this section here and let's do 150 candles, see if that gets us the whole thing. No, it doesn't. Let's go to the day. Okay, so now we're getting more of it. Okay, so let's go ahead and remove this really quickly. And you can see now this section here where all this volume is primarily shorting. Primarily shorting. This is the liquidity spectrum visualizer. And this shows us all of the orders that have come in, been rejected, turned around, things like that. All those contracts, right? So all these numbers here are contracts. So now we have a decent idea of what is the majority saying for this area on the 1 day. Okay, going back to the 4-hour, what's the majority saying here on this small section? And we can again extend this out if we want to, 200 candles, right? And this goes based off of candles. And you can see just nothing but sell pressure, right? Down here we have, boom, another kind of delta of sell pressure right here. And this is also going to show up when, again, we use, if I just go back, bring this guy back up, right? And now let's hide this. We saw that, okay, there's that delta. And where are we seeing? You can see the orange streaks coming through here. You can see that there's orange streaks coming right through the top of this area too. And this is the point of control, where this is also where we see most of that that sell volume, right? You can see how these things kind of add up. They line up together. Most of that sell volume is right here, right? So this is the area high, and you can see that we have additional sell volume right here. So that's telling me that this is looking pretty bearish right now. And we're going to go down into the 1 hour time frame now. And we can see that we've already started breaking below this trend here. We've bounced off of this support level, have come up, rejected, and are now trying to come back down to finalize breaking below this area here. Now there is going to be a bit of a struggle because we do have more support over here. So I don't think it's going to be a heavy, strong down pull. There's going to be a lot of volume down here. A good way that we can visualize that to see what the volume looks like too is if we do the anchored profile, and I come all the way. So let's move. Let's see if it allows me to. Let's move a little bit over here. So use this, and now we're just going to click all the way over here where my dotted line is. And it should grab me all of the volume, right? So now we can see the volume all the way over here in this area. You can see where this cuts off right here. I actually want to extend this a little bit more, so let's do this one more time, just off the edge over here. Boom. So now I have this area, and you can see that this volume here is enough to kind of come push down through this area here, but not without a fight. I think we're going to get a strong drop through this area. It's not going to hang out here very long. As soon as we break out of this volume area, it's going to want to drop pretty quickly until it hits that next big volume area, which if we look to the left over here is where our support is, right? Big volume area right at the break of the support. You can see this is the base of this area, kind of the tops of here, going all the way across, top of here, top of here, top of here, top of here. This is kind of the median. And if I were to use this little guy again, it'll probably show that if I just grab this area, boom, right through the point of control. Look at that. Boom, 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 boom. So that is going to help me identify, okay, that's a pretty large trade that I can take. Just kind of verifying where it is that I want to go. Now this price movement can go bounce back up, come try to tag this, reject, get absorbed, reject, and then come back down, or it could just continue coming back down now. So we're going to want to watch this price movement a little bit later once the market opens. And I will show how we do that. If we start seeing a breakout and it looks like it's going to come down and we can take a low risk trade following this movement downwards, then we will. If it seems like it's going to come back up, we'll wait for it to come down. We know that we want the market to be bearish. This very well could come all the way back up to this section here, really hit it, and then get stuck and choked out by all this volume here. So we'll see how that plays out. Stay tuned. But I know that these are previous areas for market open and market close. So now we can see that this was our open here. Here's our 15-minute candle, our first 15-minute candle. Now this is going to show us either a breakout going up into this session open over here. This is on the smaller time frame. I'm going to remove this, and I'm going to again grab this area. Okay, we can see right here we're about to bounce off that point of control, so this is a big volume area for it to bounce off of. We kind of broke below this area here, came back up, and we are now retesting that point of control. Now if we have a breakout over this point of control, we may be seeing a push up towards those higher areas that we saw, right? Asia open, London high, Again, I believe London is New York. So we'll keep an eye out on that to see if we start seeing an overturn here going south into that previous reading that we thought. We do have untested resistance down here, right? Right through here, right through here, right? This is all stuff that's going to want to get eaten up. So we have a bit of a consolidation here. I'm going to remove this really quickly. Hide that and remove this so that we get a nice clean view of the chart. And we can add some additional confluence with our trend lines and stuff like that. But just watching the market, it's doing a quick little run up. It's going to figure out how high, how much power it has to get through the volume up here. We can see what type of volume is battling what type of volume is coming in, again by using that anchored area. You can see we're in a pretty heavy volume zone for this to break through. So the easiest thing for it to do, if there isn't enough volume underneath it, is to just get eaten by this and then return back downwards. I'd be very surprised to see if it does make it through this first level here. It'll most likely get eaten up by this area here. So we'll keep an eye out on it. All right, we are back. So I went ahead and entered in this short. So we can see that we had a breakout on this first trend line right here. Now, while there might be kind of a secondary hump coming up or a bump coming up to this level, I'm okay with that considering my target, take profit target, is all the way down here at this purple line. What I did was I actually checked these Spaceman BTC key levels, and we bounced right off of the New York Open, New York high, and we had a secondary rejection right off of that zone as well. You can see that we're starting to kind of formulate a downward movement or a change in direction here, where it's no longer wanting to go back up. Now, I can play this just to the base right here, which would still be a fair trade. It's about a 1 to 3, almost a 1 to 4, or it's about a 1 to 4 actually. Just to the bottom here, which is that New York low. So we hit New York high. We can probably come all the way back down to New York low now and be comfortable with that trade. And the other thing that we can check too is that we can see on our liquidity spectrum visualizer, it's all sells at this point. Rejection blocks came in. There's a fat rejection block right here at the top, adding to the higher rejection up here. We're probably going to get a little bit of a play. I generally would want to just get that confirmation of the second breakout right here, but we are showing pretty strong downward movement. I can hide this just behind that block right there and feel pretty comfortable that this is going to continue downwards and just play down to those lower levels. So we'll watch it and see how it plays out. We'll double check on the other thing that I noticed that it hit too is this VWAP. So we hit this green VWAP line right here and got a really, really strong bounce. So we had not only the resistance, we had the volume area that showed just this whole section right here. So if I grab just this whole section, boom, right? So we had a volume area that was showing, or I think it was this section from here to here. There we go. So from this section from here to here, we bounced off of this volume area high, and we're probably going to want to come tag this volume area low again, somewhere around that, or somewhere around here. So a lot of times these volume areas will just play in between each other, and then before getting other breakouts. So we have a really, really strong confirmation that this is the rejection zone. So I'm pretty happy with that. You can see that we're slowly starting to move into profits, and we'll let this play out and finalize.
Coming closer, know that I'm a mess. Tangled up in wires, I can't catch my breath. I run. Falling deeper, I cannot confess. Drowning in the chaos, I can't catch my breath. I run. Catch my coming closer, know that I'm a mess. Tangled up in wires, I can't catch my breath. I run. Falling deeper, I cannot confess. Drowning in the chaos, I can't catch my breath. I run. Catch my
All right, guys. So that concludes our readout and trade. It took a little longer to get there. Now, I brought that in a little close just because of how quickly that jumped back in. This is definitely gonna. It looks like it will probably continue downwards. I probably didn't need to trail it that close. Probably could have kept it behind this 697 and seeing if it wants to keep going down. I know we made an original assessment stating that that it would probably be coming down into these lower areas. But I wanted to at least secure that. We were in that trade for quite some fucking time. So I wanted to at least secure that. If there does happen to be a retracement right around here, I can find another entry in. But still a pretty solid trade. I think that was $4,900 or something like that. So hope you guys enjoyed that. Take care. One more clip I wanted to show you guys. So this is that level that I was talking about I should have hid behind. This is where I got with that. Was trailing, it got me out at. It did come down some more, came all the way back up, and now you can see it looks like it's going to continue coming back down some more. I just wanted to show you guys that. There's that purple line. This is actually on the regular chart, not the NQ1. But I hope you guys enjoyed that content and follow for more.